Non-fungible idiots, don't you know? Banging our heads to the rhythm of the code. We don't care about dollars or the shiny blade. We're just holding to zero. It's our everything. Round tripping positions, that's how we roll. We won't make a dollar, won't sell a thing. We're the zero holders, our anthem we sing. Zero holders, our anthem we sing.
Sirs, I would never. Good morning. How we doing, man? And ma'ams. Mans and mans. Ugh. All right. Let's see. Caffeinated. Getting ready to zin up. Ready to get in it. What's up, Edge? Good to see you, man. Yeah, one of those wizards coming, man. Are they ever? Yeah, I guess eventually, right? Anyway. Yeah, there we go. All right, good morning, guys. Shit, dude. Wild week. Hard to believe exactly a week ago was the moment, right? It was last Saturday, the Trump assassination. Fuck, dude. Everything's different since then. For whatever reason, it just feels like that. And I don't know if we've shit. I was gonna say I don't know if we felt the impact on the market, but I mean, let me peek here. I almost think the turnaround was exactly that moment. Let me see. I just got to make sure here. Saturday, the 13th. I mean, my God. Yeah, the 13th right here. That was the moment. Holy cow. Man, big deal. I want to chat ordinals today. And runes, and man, nothing profound here, but it was a killer week for ordinals. It was a major turnaround, I think, in that market. Where, I mean, you guys know I said I'm not minting anything, and that extends to ETH, it extends to any blockchain. Just not minting NFTs till I see signs that things are turning around, and I think we saw signs that things are turning around. And in a really cool way, man, because the art this week in those few minted collections, I'm talking Aeons, and I'm talking Untitled, some of the best looking collections we've seen on Bitcoin to date. So really curious if we have a new phase of ordinals coming where the art really matters. And man, you guys know the art on Bitcoin, there's a style, there's kind of a vibe to it. And I know somebody like Joe might call it, I don't know if he'll call it low effort, but it's shitty art, I think is what he said. And right, to some degree it is, I mean, but intentionally. But that might change with this week's art because, man, both Untitled and Aeon's art is fucking phenomenal. So, yeah, wondering if we got a new phase coming up where really great art is going to be a focal point. Because really, at some point, everything becomes a derivative of itself. And everything feels so samey, it's hard to get excited. It seems like good art, good PFPs on Bitcoin hasn't really had its moment in the spotlight yet, and it just might now. Now, I'm also wondering if that's going to cannibalize from some of those big dog collections, so that'll be fun. I want to get into that a little bit today. Looking at the price of Node Monks and Puppets and Quantum Cats, the big four, OMB. But then looking at these newcomers, the new class of ordinals, and again, thinking through if things are actually changing there and what that means for the big four. We got some ordinal studs in the house, too, so Tickle English, guys, if you want to come up and chat, you guys are welcome. But otherwise, let's take a look at the crypto markets. I want to peek at NFTs. I've not looked at that yet. It's been fun. I actually like, yeah, it is. It is. They look awesome, too. I think that's what drew me to them, man. I love the look of D-Gods, and I love the look of Utes. I love them, man, and I don't have either, but this definitely makes me feel like I got a little slice of it, but I love them. Anyway, I love not looking at stuff ahead of the show. Normally, I look at it and I'm really prepared and have some thoughts and some comments about market and especially NFTs. And especially on weekends, I don't. I just pull it up blind. Afternoon show, I do that too. But I like it. I like getting a fresh look with you guys and being able to be surprised if something is showing that's surprising. So yeah, I like that. Anyway, looking at crypto, Bitcoin at 66.5, ETH at 34, almost 3,500 here. Solana at 168. Market's looking great, man. Past 24 hours, you see Bitcoin up 3.7%. All these up almost 3% or a little over 3%, except for ETH. ETH is your laggard. And not for much longer, man. ETF's going live on Tuesday. It's actually happening, man. It's actually happening. So there's 5 spot ETFs here. Van Eck, Invesco, Fidelity, 21 shares, Franklin, Templeton. I don't know if it's only 5, though. I don't believe it's only 5 that launch, but these 5 launching. Well, maybe it is, actually. Yeah, maybe it is. I don't think it's priced in, man. I don't think it's priced in at all. Let's see if we can find anything that makes us feel a little more confident about that. Ands look different where newcomers can't tell. What does that mean? Can't tell from D? Oh, D-Gods, okay. Yeah. I mean, I don't think I'd have made that association if I didn't know it was coming from, D-Gods team members, community members. Who else is it besides their CM? Is there anybody else from the D-Gods team that's in on that? Let's do a little sneak peek over there, too. I'm close to breaking a rule where I flipped mine, right? I got out of the 2 that I had. I'm kind of tempted to get back in. So my prediction, my price prediction on these was 0.01. It's damn near there. It's damn near there. We'll call it we hit that number. But when things start cooking, I don't know if this is good or bad. I make a lot of my predictions for the peak of the market. But peak, I don't see how these aren't, 0.03, 0.05. I mean, somewhere in that ballpark. Again, peak. Not now, but peak. But I think these got some life in them. Small collection. Decent holder distribution. Not great, but it's pretty standard for Bitcoin. And it's still early in the collection. And I'm still seeing some of the rarer ones, if rarity matters. And a lot of people saying that rarity is going to matter again, like Beanie, who's all about NFTs again all of a sudden. But if you're looking for rarity, man, stuff like the skull head, that's like, for example, that's the rarest head trait, or at least these are still, or we're still updating when I was first diving in. But at the time, that was the rarest head trait. Let me peek. Kind of curious. 128. Yeah, I believe that's still the rarest head trait. There's some rarer stuff sitting on the floor, and at that point, you're looking for a combination of these rare traits. Yes, Beanie has commented. Actually, Tickle, I'm glad you said that. I actually do want to put a little time in that because I've not really dug in. But he wrote a thread about it, and actually I thought it was great. Basically calling out, I don't want to say calling out because it wasn't a shitty post, but mentioning how G-Funk just keeps pivoting. And for a business, that's normally awful. You know what I mean? In NFTs, it's a little different. You have to some degree, you have to be able to pivot to survive. But Beanie's point was projects like Pudgy Penguins didn't pivot. They picked their lane. They believed in it. And that's the big difference. They believed in it, and they stuck to it. Pudgy Penguins did that. Doodles did that. And both of them are seeing huge success right now. Doodles on their way to seeing huge success. They're the very beginning of that now. And then you compare that to somebody like Pixel Vault, who pivots and then pivots and then pivots and then pivots and fucks their holders in their wake. And they keep pivoting to the wrong thing. And Tickle, we joke about this a lot, where the founder of Pixel Vault, G-Funk, says they're skating where the puck is going. And how have they been wrong so many fucking times for people to not understand? They don't know where the puck is going. Those guys are borderline clueless. I don't know. And I always preface that by saying I like the guys that work on the team. I do think they're hard workers, and I do think they're great builders. But to some degree, I think they're clueless. And to a big degree, I think they're reckless. And I'm not a fan of what they've been doing. Not at all. Ship, good to see you, man. Marco, you got a skull. Hey, we looked at yours yesterday, I think, right? You got a nice one. God damn, those Zins make me ill in the morning. I should not do that. Ugh. These look awesome. These look. Actually, I want to. I'm shopping. I think I'm shopping. If I see a really nice one, I'm probably gonna grab. Honestly, again, playing for 0.02, 0.03, a little 2, 3x. Although I think you can find that in runes pretty easily too. There's a lot of opportunities in this in the Bitcoin space. Want to look over when we get to NFTs, like market review. I want to look at buyers, sellers in Bitcoin and just get a feel for where we're at because, nothing's changed since last year. There's not a lot of people in that ecosystem still, and I don't think that's going to last. Right? I still think this bull market, this NFT bull market, I think primarily still going to be over on Bitcoin. I do. I'm not dismissing ETH like I did before, though. There's just a lot of energy and there's a lot of, let's say, hopium. A lot of people hoping that the ETH stuff starts cooking again. I think it might. I won't be shocked if it will. Right? A lot of people are really familiar with that ecosystem now, and they know how to trade there. And Bitcoin, it's a little harder. Get more confident, about the base ecosystem. Seeing meme coins cook over there is a great sign for NFTs. Just get liquidity over there. Get liquidity over there. That cycles its way to NFTs at some point. This guy right here, pretty damn rare too, guys. The Infinity hoodie here. I think that's what it's called. The hoodie is, I think, the rarest top layer. Let me double check here. But I also believe the pizza thing, the pizza head. I'm going to double check this too, but that's one of the rarer ones. Yeah, pizza slice, 210. No, okay, not totally. But this one's pretty sweet. Almost being on the floor here. I'm eyeballing stuff like this. Right, even if we get a pullback, that's fine. Are there two pizza head dudes? Hang on. Yeah, this guy. Yeah, two of them on the floor. Close to the floor. I'm not going to call that floor, but close. I'm shopping, man. I'm shopping. Yeah, these are all so cool, though. I like them all. I really do. And what's funny, man? Yeah, but to both Marco's and English's point, I again, knowing it comes from the DGods team, looking at the art, I didn't make that association. I see it now. Something in the palette, something in the colors feels DGodsy, and the vibe. It definitely feels like it. By the way, this blood background, can't remember the exact title, but that background I love. I've said that since yesterday. If I do get something, I'd love it to have that background. I don't know if there's any other background that has that border too. I really love that. Now, I think that aura, that little aura around it, I think is one of the rares as well. So this is a good one right here. They're decent. I just like it at the very least, but man, I really like this collection. So yeah, good art over there. We'll come back to that. It's not the same artist as far as I know. Marco, as far as I know, not the same artist, but if it is, that's even more bullish for this thing. Even with DGods doing what they're doing now, which, not doing great, but it's a significant collection. So getting that artist on this, man, if so, extra bullish on this. Just tells me these guys aren't going anywhere, for the most part. And maybe even if they do, they're staples of this space. So if they leave, kind of like Kevin Rose, he's gone, but, it's still a dude somebody's going to talk about forever. So the more DGods you have that are on this project, on this team, kind of in a way better for longevity, kind of. They're minor players, but it's such a cool collection. Really is. Yeah, I don't think, back to the ETFs, I don't think, guys, even at all, even a little, I don't think the ETFs are priced in. I just don't. I don't. And especially if this brings in tremendous volume, well, all of a sudden, man, we got ETH back to being deflationary. Right? So the more the ETH network is used, supply goes down, man. So extra bullish here in the Bitcoin, ETH ecosystem. And just a comment about Bitcoin. It's so weird, man. My girls have been talking about this stuff recently. It's really, it's weird. They don't ever mention this stuff. And recently they've talked about it just kind of on their own a few times, and especially with their friends. And they're young, 12, 13 years old. But I think their friends are starting to pick up something about crypto, and especially NFTs. And my girls get it. And I was explaining to them about Bitcoin. 21 million Bitcoin. And this actually is playing off a Mark Cuban comment this week. He commented about the supply, right? 21 million Bitcoin total. In the entire world, there's what? 55, 60 million millionaires. Man, there's not enough Bitcoin for every millionaire in the world to even own a full Bitcoin. And here in the States alone, 22-ish million. Actually, I'm gonna search this, but I believe it's 20. Let's just even say 20. I think it's actually more, but 20 to 22 million millionaires here in the States. Not enough Bitcoin for every millionaire here just in the States to own one. Ooh, you know, talking and thinking through supplies of these tokens gets me really excited. And it's also why I'm crazy bullish on Solana, but why I'm a little more cautious with Solana. And that's because I don't understand the tokenomics. As far as I know, Solana is an infinite supply. So I don't know the emissions. I don't know how new tokens are created. I'm not sure how this works exactly, but it's why I'm always a little cautious when I look at the price and try to make predictions. How do you make a prediction when you don't know the supply? And forget the fact that this Solana blockchain, the Solana network, goes down from time to time. Yeah, Solana's the one that probably has the most upside. I mean, truthfully, probably does have the most upside. Also, probably the riskiest of those majors, right? So, I don't know. It's fun. It's going to get wild. But we're heading towards this incredible market here, an incredible run. And I'll still throw the word super cycle out there, you know? I still think that's what's coming. I'm sure of it, fam. I'm sure of it. God, I can't wait. It's going to be a fun year here. And going into 2025, I think that's where this really starts cooking. But starting now, this is the start. Even with Mt. Gox Bitcoin still coming, this is the start. All right, yesterday, Bitcoin ETFs, 383 million in inflows. Second biggest day of the past 2 weeks, almost 2.5 weeks here. I mean, shit, going back much further because it was pretty much outflows beyond this, right? This only goes back about 2 to 3 weeks. But 383 in inflows, only topped by July 16th with 422 million. Man, we're cooking. We're cooking, man. People out there feeling what's coming. Yeah, Marco, I like that prediction. I don't see, again, not understanding tokenomics exactly, but I don't see how Solana isn't an easy 5x. Because as soon as those ETH ETFs are live and tradable, of course, we'll be talking about what are those inflows like, what are those outflows like, but it's instantly over to, okay, we got some Solana applications. Now, what happens to those? How quickly is that turnaround? When are those getting approved? So, Solana's going to cook, man. Solana's going to cook. God, it's hard to not be just giga excited about this. Good morning, sir. Welcome.
Fuck is brah?
How are you, sir?
Oh, dude, I'm just so happy it's Saturday.
Yeah, you're heading to work?
Yeah, you know, it sucks. One of my main dudes he's got a hip surgery, like hip replacement next week. So like normally in the summer I don't have to go in on Saturday if the girls aren't skating. But yeah, I gotta go in.
But here you are.
Been a bit busy. But here I am.
Kind of sucks. Man, I bet you could use some downtime, especially you got Bitcoin 2024 Nashville coming up this week. Like Tuesday-ish, you're heading out?
Yeah, here's what's weird. I go Tuesday. I'm there till Saturday. I could have left Sunday and Trump speaking, like I'd like to watch him speak, but I head back to Nashville the next week with the family for a skate competition.
Oh, no kidding.
So then I'm there for a week. So yeah. Busy times ahead. We got a Maki that kind of kicks off this upcoming week. So it's just gonna be, dude. It's just never ending. You know, it's busy.
I again looking at the names in the chat. You know, like I see English, I see Tickle. I know a lot of people who work their asses off in this space, right? Like just work their fucking asses. Like all they do is work. I work. I definitely work, man. I definitely grind. I mean, no doubt.
Yeah,
but I don't know anybody who works more than you. I truthfully don't. I don't know anybody who puts more time into just getting shit done, man. You know, like it's like it literally, like it inspires me, dude. The like business owner, you work 7 fucking days a week, a normal job, which a normal job as a business owner isn't a 40-hour work week. That's probably double. It's probably double that as a business owner. And then you still work. Guarantee fucking Kong's work is a full-time job. Guarantee it, if not more. Given
it's
what
more.
you do. So
yeah,
I don't know how you do it, man.
You know what? It's morphed at my shop, and I'm really lucky that I got good employees because I would say when I'm at my store, like 70% of my time is working on Kong stuff. So it's definitely a blend. I mean, there's a lot of work. It's funny because I was just responding in Kong's chat. Like somebody was asking, what are Gen Kong's thoughts on Untitled, and somebody responded to it, and they gave a good summary. Like, some people like don't care. Some people are upset that they missed it, and some people are upset that like they they think it's taking away time from other things. Even though we've said as like I've said and Enzo has said, like it doesn't. I think what people don't understand, and I told them, I said it's like a general contractor working on multiple houses. You don't have, like, people do that, by the way. You can have multiple projects going on if you have multiple crews. But if we were just waiting for dev work to be done on, let's say, what we're doing on Ronin as an example, like the biz dev and marketing team would be just sitting on our hands. I mean, you're waiting for things to be completed, and it's things that are completely out of your control, that no matter how much, like, let's say Enzo, Adzi, myself, and Ant would want to help on those things, like we're not devs. We can't do shit with there. So it's literally like, yeah, there's deadlines for that stuff. The devs work on it. And so if we are just going to sit around waiting to go from point to point, it doesn't make sense. Whereas like on Bitcoin, if we have a dev who can dev some shit on Bitcoin, then yeah, we can be floating around between EVM and Bitcoin. So anyway, point to that is just like, yeah, it's busy because you've got a lot of different things you're working on. The things you're doing now, the things that are coming up, and then the things that you want to be doing, 6 to 12 months from now.
Yeah.
So
dude,
yeah,
good.
it's fucking busy, dude.
It's a great opportunity to flip the narrative. I like how you said that you're not a dev, Enzo's not a dev. So while the devs are deving, while they're developing shit, man, why would you guys just be sitting on your ass, not pushing in another direction? That's actually bullish for the whole ecosystem. It's bringing more eyes to the Kong's ecosystem. It's onboarding. It's pushing not just Kong's forward, but it's actually pushing the space forward. So they should be celebrating. And I bet they would if they kind of just think through it a bit, but celebrating the fact that Kongs don't ever stop. They don't rest. It's all the efforts are pushing in multiple directions now, but it's not taking away from either side.
Like if people were really behind the curtain and saw, how it works, they would understand, like, those aren't just words to appease people. Anyone who's in Kongs knows I'm not working on dev shit. Enzo's not working on dev shit. Adzi's not working on dev shit. So like we have the day-to-day business operations we've got to deal with and partnerships, but like there's a handful of us. We are all grinders, and there's enough time in the day for us to be able to take on things like, what we did in Bitcoin. So if we were just literally sitting around waiting for update to update, we launched Genkai a year ago. And like, yeah, we've had some really minor things that we've released in the meantime, whether it was sprites or we've got our 3D avatars. But what people don't understand is like, okay, so we work on setting up for the 3D avatars, but then somebody else builds them. So like, we have time. We, as a biz dev marketing team, have time. It would be boring as fuck if we were just sitting around waiting for all of these dev things to be finished. I don't know what we would do. I'd be real, I say bored. Yeah. So, yeah, but the other side of it is, I can understand the perception that people have, like, you're stretched too thin. We are a small team. You're doing too much. But like, man, that's who we are. Like, it's who we are. It's what we do. We like to try to do new shit, and the space might not always understand or appreciate that, but that's just who we are.
I love that there's no rest, and I think that's when you actually stumble upon magic. I think sometimes magic happens when you're not even trying, and by not trying, I mean playing. When you're just in the space and you are working, and that's when you stumble on things that actually become game changing. So if you're not doing anything, or if you're pushing in just that one direction, I think you're limiting actually how you can grow and the types of things that you'll be able to innovate on. So the fact that, again, it's in multiple directions, as Tickle puts it, multiple verticals here, man, that's how you unlock, I think, some pretty magical shit, which you guys have done regularly.
Think of this, like, not to dominate, Kong shit, but I know it's Saturday, so it's a little looser. But, a year ago, more than a year ago, when we were starting with Ronin, if we were just chilling with let's say babies, Jen's babies and VXs, right? And you could argue that that's enough NFTs for a collection. You could absolutely make that argument. And people could say like, why did you go to Ronin? And it doesn't make any sense, and you're spread thin and whatever. But like by going to Ronin, we were actually able to, have our node on Ronin, with a ton of support, of course, from like Ronin and CyberKong's community. And that is literally our best revenue vertical is our node. And so like little things like that, when you're just like
Forgot about
cooking
that,
in the lab. Yeah, you're cooking in the lab and you're like, oh, you stumble on something that's really helpful for the project. And even after this week and just sort of, some of the negative, vibes that were around what happened this week, even though there was like some real bullish shit about it, and then there was some kind of bearish shit about it. I'm just like, exactly what you just said was the thought I had this morning. I was having coffee and I was just like, if you aren't doing that, if you're not experimenting, you don't know what you may be missing out on. You don't know what you might stumble on. Like, not gonna lie, I didn't want to go to Nashville. I think I was telling English the other day, like, bro, I don't even want to go. Or I think I made a comment to him, like, I'm just gonna be in my hotel, bro. I'm not gonna show my face. Cause like, you just like, oh man, I don't feel like getting shit on. And, but I'm like, nah, man, like you don't know what opportunities come out of those types of events. So you're spot on, man.
I don't think anybody shits on in public too. That's, man, people are very, very different when they're behind their keyboard and they're anonymous and they feel a little more free. And then when it gets real, when they actually see a person, it forces them to be way more real about this shit and appreciate what it is and the people behind it. I think in person, I mean, I'm sure you know this from experience because you go to most of these conferences, but in person, I can't imagine there's any kind of hate. It's probably the exact opposite. Is that usually how it works in person?
I've never had a negative like experience with a holder or even just somebody in Web3. Yeah, you're totally right. I you never get any shit talking or anything like that. I think you're spot on. It's keyboard warriors. Even if they have that thought in person, everybody's usually super chill. And I'm excited to see what comes out of it. Of course, I'll see Tickles in English out there. And you just never know when like Enzo and I will be together and normally him and I are 5 hours apart, time zone wise. So like when you're together and you can and you're in the same room, shit gets done at a different level than it does when you're like, by the time I'm start my day, he's already, halfway through his. So you lose, to a certain degree, half of the day working together. You're still getting your work done, but like working together is a lot different. So excited for it.
Yeah, real cool, man. I can't wait to hear some updates live from out in Nashville from all you guys, man. Anybody who's going again, I know Tickle, you, English, any of the other guys watching right now that are going. Man, you guys see anything cool? Hit me up if we're doing a show. Happy to go live to you too. Anything you're doing out there. It's gonna be a fun fucking week out there. By the way, dude, we hit a milestone this week. I think you saw it. I'm pretty sure you saw, but dude, channel hit 2,000 subs, and we did that in under a year. I'm so proud isn't the right word. I just didn't think that would happen. Right? The goal was 1,000 subs in the first year, and I didn't really think that would happen. It was like that goal came about after I realized that would be possible. Right? I'm like, okay, I think at this rate it could hit 1,000, so that became the goal. 2,000 was never a goal. Didn't think that was possible. Can't fucking believe it. And a big part of that is thanks to you and Joe when we were doing the afternoon show over here. But, dude, it's a huge milestone, and I'm pretty goddamn bullish on what this channel can be in the future. So just wanted to actually thank you, Henry, for a lot of your time you put in here on the weekends, but, again, also the afternoon show. So thank you for that. Part of that, this achievement is yours too, man. So GG's.
Well, if part of the achievement is mine, it's a really, really fucking small part. You've been grinding for a long fucking time doing this. And like you and I have always said, like our favorite like spaces to do was always doing them together, or like we just always enjoyed like riffing on Web3 together. So you're like the engine that makes this thing go. And of course, like the success you've had with your 5-minute clips in the morning and Chain Reactor, and you're just on like that trajectory. I thought about it last night after you DM me. Like you're just on that you're on the right trajectory to that next level, dude. There's no doubt you're going to be that next level.
Oh, cool. Appreciate it, man. I realized the one thing I have to do, and I've said it here a few times, man. I gotta fucking tweet, and I hate tweeting, guys. I fucking hate tweeting. But I went on to Inspect XYZ, and it actually made me really excited. So I went on Inspect XYZ, and if anybody doesn't know, it's a metrics. It's like an analytics platform for Twitter, right? So it shows your followers, and it shows your engagement, it shows your reach, and all that. So, and it measures maybe specifically like NFT Twitter kind of stuff. So it said only 3% of NFT Twitter is exposed to my tweets. I'm like, holy shit. Like being able to pull off 2K subs, and I know a different platform, right? But 2K subs where the primary place I advertise this is on X, and only 3% of this space even sees this shit. All I see that, like it's not defeating seeing it. It actually made me really, really optimistic. It's like, man, just push there. Get to 5%, and that's basically 6%, double what you got right now. Like, makes me really excited for what we can do if there's a tweak in the game. That's what it's all about, right? Just tweaking shit. So anyway, I'm excited for the next year. I'll set some new milestones. I'm going to put out some data here this week on channel numbers. But anyway, it's been a blast, dude. Can't wait to just keep doing this shit. I'm glad you joined, by the way, man. Because I'm talking about maybe a new phase for the ordinals ecosystem. So we had the Aeons mint yesterday. Did really well. Looks fucking awesome, right? Artwork's fucking fantastic. And the same with Untitled. I think this was our best week for if we're just kind of measuring, ranking art, like good art. I can't remember another week here in the space where, and specifically PFPs, because we've had art mints like Gen Art and other kinds of more traditional art on Bitcoin, but for PFPs, I can't remember in the past year plus where we've had such good looking PFPs get inscribed over there. So it feels like something's actually changing. And so what I was saying is, like, shitty art, and it's not really shitty, but shitty art was always, the thing about Bitcoin. Like that Joe would always say that, right? It's what Bitcoin art is until this week. Things were feeling so samey then, and I feel like this is maybe a chance for that to shift and for things to feel exciting, because all of a sudden, again, great looking PFPs, and man, the Untitled's keep growing on me. Like, first saw them, didn't love them, thought they were AI, and as soon as you told me that process, and actually you guys put out a video showing the process of creating these and realizing they're actually hand-drawn, dude, blew my goddamn mind, but also, like, the collection looks fucking phenomenal. It is such a good looking collection.
Yeah, very different from ETH as far as like costs involved to put good art out there, right? Like really fucking different. And so I understand why a lot of projects have shitty art, because it's significantly more expensive good art than it is to inscribe, low res pixel kind of shitty art. So I get it, but the thing is, and also I can understand for somebody who just wants to release an ordinals collection, like for provenance, and maybe they don't have the financial backing behind them. That's an awfully big like pill to swallow. I want to say just the 222 cost us, I don't know, like around $25,000 to inscribe.
Wow.
So like you multiply that, I mean it's not cheap. And I might be wrong. Maybe it was $19,000, but
Still
like it was in the like. Yeah, it's not cheap. So I get why the normal art on Bitcoin is not amazing, and I'm not shitting on anything because I know there's art that we all like on Bitcoin, but it's cool to see
too. But
although like okay, it's intentional, but it's intentional because it's cheap. It's the reality is like, I think it's easier to spin a narrative like, we're part of the shitty art scene because like, that's what Bitcoin is. Well, Bitcoin kind of is that, because most of these are put out by people who probably don't have the bankroll, and it would be hard to justify spending 150, 200K to inscribe like a really dope 5, 8, 10K collection.
Well, let me ask this then, because I want to make sure this makes sense to me. The cost is associated with basically the file size, right? So wouldn't it cost the same if a puppet were shitty looking like it is here, or if it was some like super highly detailed thing? Isn't that more a comment about the maybe the resolution of the piece, right? Than it is the style?
Well, there's a lot that kind of goes into it. Okay, not a technical dude, but I've sat through some of the like compression sessions of taking the art in its like high res form and seeing what you can compress it to, so it's at least like manageable as far as file size and costs. So there is like, within like the collection we're looking at, like with Untitled, let's say, there, some pieces may have cost double what other pieces cost, or even triple,
Interesting.
just because of the amount of art going on in there, and if you want to say like layers going on in there, where you've got maybe a background, a geometric background.
Huh.
So yeah, it's funny how there can be a pretty decent sized difference even between pieces.
I never realized that. I, for whatever reason, that never clicked. That's super fucking interesting.
It's super interesting. Like if we just had like a dot, like one dot on a black screen, if that's going to be significantly cheaper than if you have something that's like really detailed. And like one of the things is, as you compress the file, you lose some of like that hand drawn vibe of like brush strokes even. And shit that I didn't even see. I'd be like, well, Ant, can we compress this even more? And he's like, yeah, but then you lose the brush stroke a bit. And I'm like, can you send me the difference? And he would send it to me. And I'm like, I don't see the difference, but here's what I'm going to say as a non-creative person. Get the art compressed to a degree that you still like it. Even if it costs us a little bit more, like we don't want to inscribe this and spend $100,000 inscribing 222. So we need to bring it down. But like, bring it down to a point where like you and Mio and Valkyrie are still like, obviously they have to be okay with it. So it's just interesting to see that process. So yeah, it makes a difference. It's not just about like, oh, people put more time into the art so it looks better. It's all file sizes, image sizes. Is it going to be a 720 by 720? Is it going to be a 640 by 640? Is it going to be something significantly smaller? So yeah, it's interesting to see that process. And for me, like not being super technical, it's fun to like learn new shit like that, where you start to understand kind of like what happens behind the scene.
Well, I'm curious if people watching knew that was a factor here. I didn't realize that. To me, a JPEG or PNG is a JPEG or PNG, and to me, every piece was pretty much the same size. I didn't consider that they're actually that different, and the layers makes a ton of sense actually. So, dude, I learned something. And man, by the way, this piece, I think this one's my favorite in the collection. I feel like somebody got a steal getting him at 0.11-ish or so. I don't know. There's something about it. I didn't see any others with a little orange corner in it. And I don't know if that's like a display rendering issue or if that's actually part of the piece, but this one is just perfection.
Well, so maybe it's because like I just didn't run in these circles, but that is that's MF Doom ish. Right. So like that was like an album cover of his. I don't know if you've seen like a side by side of it. Yeah, that's like that's why it's got the orange on it, because that's
that's on the cover too. The mask for sure. I didn't realize that's fucking awesome. Oh my god.
If you like image search MF Doom, like that's like a replica of it.
All right, let me pull it up, dude. I think this is. They all look fucking amazing, but man, I think that's the grail of the collection. I love it.
I was surprised that somebody would, but also totally understand why anybody would sell anything at any price. But yeah, I was surprised to see that go.
That's so fucking cool. Again, it being orange is just perfect too,
Yeah. No, really, very very on trend. Yeah, it'll be cool to see, like in a bull market, do these pick back up with future things we do? Do these pick back up? It'll just be interesting to see.
Chris, what do you mean here with flipping the image? Runestones, can you interact with those? Is that because it's like a 3D object? Can you grab it and like spin it around? Is that what's up? Because if so, I didn't realize you can do that with Runestone. But yeah, having this as a 3D actual model that you can spin, that would be a big ass file. You probably couldn't even inscribe that. Maybe you could, but yeah.
Well,
it'll be cool.
Yeah.
This, the size limit restrictions, getting a conversation we have here, why I'm so bullish on ordinals, right? It was so expensive to mint this little 200 edition collection. And man, when Bitcoin gets busy and active and fees are right, like through the roof, and we saw this at the Bitcoin halving, you can't inscribe. You can't put out new collections. When we hit the bull market, there's not going to be new ordinals collections, right?
Dude.
Like it's a fascinating ecosystem here that is so unlike these others. It literally the new collections, the inscribing of them, the mints of them, it will come to a screeching halt when a bull run comes because it gets so expensive to mint a collection. Having right, I think it was this random ass number, but 50,000, 100,000 to inscribe like a small collection, like probably this size, probably would cost $1 million. Like that extreme. It's screeching halt when this stuff runs.
You couldn't do it. The mempool around halving was like you were waiting for it to come down to like 35, 40 VB per sat, right? Like somewhere in that range. And it was like for sure floating up in like the 100 range, consistently. I think we inscribed this for the fees that I told you. I think we inscribed this around like 6 to 8 VB per sat. So you're spot on, and I hadn't even thought of that. In a bull market, you're not doing that. That means at like, let's say at 30 or 40, if the mempool is like, let's even just say 40 for even numbers, we would have been paying like $100K to inscribe 222 of these.
Yep.
So I think you're right. I think if you're going to try to put out like a high quality art collection, I don't want to say you have to do it in a bear.
Yes,
it's you almost have to.
And it's just funny because then what does that mean when we start picking out what's our grail? What's the piece you're buying and you're trying to play the market? When we talk about, so on ETH, I say I'm not buying anything now. I'm not getting into any. I'm playing the new mint game, right? That's where you make money in the space. You get a whitelist, you mint something, you flip it, you're out. Again, that's not going to happen over here. It's not going to happen at all. So it is. The opportunity is getting in something right now, in the grails right now, because those grails right now remain the grails in that bull market because there's no new competition. It's there's no ecosystem like this. That's why people, honestly, Henry, that's why people are so giga bullish on those top 4. Why people assume that when people get that money, right, they make money elsewhere. Why it funnels to these, because there's nowhere else for it to funnel other than really the top collections. There's gonna be nothing new, nothing. And again, the halving showed us like. Euphoria. There was a lot of euphoria right then. Runes were coming out. There was people actually making money then. Nothing was getting minted. There was no new mints because you couldn't. You absolutely could not mint stuff. So, be smart, guys. Be like, I know what I mean by that is position yourself knowing there's not going to be competition at that time. Now that does get us into this other conversation. Having these awesome new mints this week, so Aeons and Untitled. Does that actually impact puppets and node monks and quantum cats and shrooms to a degree, but really OMB, the top 4? Are we going to see, is this starting to actually pull away some of the money that would go there? The fact that we now have some other really high quality collections coming from really great teams. And I'm not going to lump Aeons in that yet. I think they look awesome and it definitely has some really great guys behind it, but it's not a team like CyberKongz, right? But now there's some choices. There's starting to be some choices from some very legitimate collections. And so, dude, I don't think we're anywhere close to the ceiling or that we've seen the ceiling for these things like Node Monks, right? They hit 0.9 in the February-ish run, and I think they'll blow that away. But to some degree, are we starting to see this not get watered down? But there's some options, right? Is it impactful in a way that we will notice it in prices? And I'm wondering because we finally got some really good quality.
Do you know what's a collection that I am surprised, and if English is listening, I'm kind of curious his thoughts on this too. I really like Pizza Ninja's art. There's something about it that I really like it. It's super clean. They're fun. I think they hover more in like that 0.1 range, and they're not often or ever talked about in the same light as nodes or any of the ones that you mentioned. And I'm kind of curious why, because
why.
Yeah, it's too big.
And well, they do look fucking awesome. And for a while, man, it started as that small collection, right? 1,500 and they minted, I believe, at 0.03, and they basically just hung around there for a bit. I'm trying to remember if they went under mint price. There was a lot of drama with the team, like TO. I can tell you, and you know the space works like this, if you're not part of the kind of cabal, it can be a problem. And of course, he is kind of cabal at this point, and he was even back then. But there was a lot of fighting with TO, and then I think it was the Node Monks and maybe some other teams, right? There was not a lot of support across the board. And that absolutely hurt them. And to some degree, that probably carries over to today. Although I don't see beef on the timeline. I don't really see that fighting like we saw early on in Bitcoin, but it absolutely impacted these guys to the point where I'm kind of surprised to see them basically at 0.1, because I think the conversation out there was they're never going to be that kind of collection. Like they're just so widely disliked, or enough people dislike them and enough people who are influential that it was really going to hurt the project. And at this point, it hasn't. Now something to keep in mind too.
What did they not like? Like, what was it about? Yeah, what was it about TO? Did they not like?
I think there was just some PvP shit going on and some shit talking of other collections. Again, Node Monks is what stands out. And if English is watching, I know he knows, because he was a little deeper in that, as far as had some thoughts at that point. Like, he explained to me why they weren't well liked. He might have even been one of those that maybe at that time, it's anti-current Bitcoin meta. Anti-current Bitcoin node. Pizza Ninjas right now. I got to get him to clarify that a bit. But dude, as far as the look of them, they're so fucking clean. They look amazing. 1,500. I'm pretty damn sure that supply is going to keep growing. They'll just mint them as kind of as needed when the timing is right, which makes it tricky to want to buy one at 0.1. But that's a similar thing to Untitled too. Right? Like that collection in theory could grow. I don't think you guys have said for sure it will, unless you have.
I mean, yeah, we've said it's a expansive collection. I think people might have misunderstood the word expansive and thought or read it as expensive. Expansive meaning it will expand. Not these first 222. These are subtitled anonymous. So whatever would come out next will not be part of the anonymous genre. I say think of OMB, where they've got their red, blue, green, orange eyes. Something similar-esque to that. But
okay. I love that.
I like the I like the idea of what Trevor's doing, wanting to be able to push the IP. That it's a cutesy. I hate to use that word, but it's a clean, fun, kind of cute collection that's really easy to use as a logo.
Yep.
So I think he's going the IP play, which I think is not a stupid idea.
Well, you see Doodles and you see Pudgy Penguins in it. Seems like, and probably even Moonbirds, we're going to see a lot more of that. That might be the kind of play that has legs, right? That ends up being a more sustainable thing. Maybe a bit more realistic as far as expectations and price and value and all that stuff. Maybe it's lower than this shit that's just speculative and fun. But again, it's a little more real and it's a little more sustainable. And English is saying, that is kind of the story. It was kind of not the meta. It is an IP play, which is kind of not what the Bitcoin ecosystem was doing at the time. And truthfully, not a lot of them are doing that. So it's just different. It's more like an ETH mentality. And he also said Raktoshi and TO don't get along. And so Raktoshi from Node Monks, there's a lot of money in probably influence behind Raktoshi and his kind of world, his collection, his fans.
Gotcha.
So, if they're beefing, they're probably not buying a Pizza Ninja.
No, okay. That makes sense. I met TO in Hong Kong. I liked him. Cool dude.
Seems cool.
I liked him. Yeah, super nice. I mean, I didn't appreciate him standing up and speaking fucking fluent Mandarin or Cantonese, whatever. No, I was shocked that he was fluent. Totally just talking shit. I think he's a great guy. But yeah, dude, he gets up. We're on stage, and the first question was to him, and he just does a 30-second perfect, Mandarin.
Oh,
and I'm
funny.
like, holy fuck, man. That's legit. But I like him. I think he's also he was willing to hop on calls with us when we were talking about the quest that we were going to do.
Oh, that's cool.
he a very, I say, giving dude, very
Good dude, approachable, like works,
Yeah.
all that shit, right? Like one of the good
Yeah.
ones, like one of the good guys.
I
So
thought so.
here's what's interesting too. There's ever like an olive branch or like these guys make peace. I don't know if they're like fighting actively, right? And if they're vocal about it, you know, like it may be past, but if there's ever like an olive branch and there is peace between those guys and then support, these things rip at that point, right? If the node monks are suddenly like, yeah, we like pizza ninjas now. They're cool. They're our bros. I mean, look the fuck out. These all of a sudden become one of those top. It already is one of the top collectibles on Bitcoin. I think it reaches that next level if and when that happens. I feel like that's something that could happen. You know, probably it seems likely, but yeah, like these, I probably, you know, at some point I'd like to have one. I could probably leave it there.
Dude, there's so many things I would like to get, but right now I'm not like some Bitcoin whale. So it's like the Bitcoin that I have, I have a hard time spending it. Do you know what I mean? Like I just want to stack Bitcoin. So there's shit that I want, and I can even argue like, oh, I could buy it and flip it, but I know me. I rarely ever sell anything.
Right.
So I'm like, yeah, it would sound great. Like I'm going to buy a node monk or you know, another quantum cat or whatever, but I don't sell. So I don't know that it's a great investment.
I'm hoping to change that this cycle. I'm with you. Not great at selling, but this cycle, when we hit that peak, when I get that feeling like, oh, this is stupid. When we start seeing things with a 200 ETH floor equivalent on Bitcoin, I'm sorry, but the quantum cat's going to go, and if I end up getting a node monk, they're all going to go. And I'll buy them back next cycle, you know, next bear market. They're all going this time.
I've got no problem if I mint something and I like am minting it in that mindset of like I'm just flipping it. I feel like it's different when you're hunting on the secondary for something that you like because you support somebody. Like, oh, I like Trevor, so like, and I like the Pizza Ninja art. I'd like to have one. I feel like that to me is it harder to sell something like that than it is like, oh, I minted Aeons, or you know, and I'm just here to flip it, or any of the airdrops we got during airdrop season.
Yep. Hey, by the way, Andy's watching. Good morning, Andy. I'm trying to see if he wants to come up and chat psychedelics.
Oh,
I pulled aside a little psychedelic story. I want him up.
Before I get to work today too, I would love to be able to talk Acolyte because I was able to watch it yesterday.
Oh my God. Yeah, let's do that. Okay, let me see if I got any other little quick talking points, topics. Okay, the TLDR on ordinals. Watch for a change in the meta. Watch for new collections coming out that have gorgeous art. Watch to see how those impact the big four: puppets, node monks, quantum cats, OMB. That's mostly it, man. And by the way, I told you I like to tell people when I do get something. I got a based angel. I'm probably going to look to get a second based angel. I love them. I fucking love them, man. They totally got the vibe of the Milady and Retardio derivs. And I think I don't know if this was a shit post, but I thought I saw the Bitcoin or Based Angels project tweet that they are now like listed in the official derivatives. I like them. I think these are going to cook. So
what chain are they on base or are they
Bitcoin.
on?
Yeah, so
what's
it's
the
like
price?
0.006.
Oh,
so
okay.
they're like
fun.
the Milady Retardio deriv on Bitcoin. There's a few others like Draforian, you know, are kind of that too, but these feel a little more on brand, and they're again super fucking active and shit posty and very cult like. So love them.
How are those Draforians doing? I minted like 8, I think.
They're not sold out. They're still a quarter sold out, and I'm kind of with Dead still. I think they more and more. I didn't get the art at first. I bought it because I get Dead. You know what I mean? I get when he talks about a thing, I kind of just buy. The art's really grown on me. Like I really like it. It's got character and personality. Looks like nothing, but yeah, quarter sold out. I think they'll fly. And yeah, let's see. B Drizzle says they are listed on the Remilio site as a collection. Okay, good shit. So they're considered kind of like an official deriv then. I've never seen the site. I do need to check that out. All right, guys, we're fucking Star Wars nerds, right? So we're gonna get into Acolyte. So heads up, there'll be spoilers, of course. It's about a week old at this point, so hopefully you've seen by now. Actually, hopefully you haven't. So Tickle, I did not mint Frontline. Is that Bitcoin? I saw people talking about it. Actually, probably you. But no, I didn't. All right, man. Where the? Oh, hang on, real quick. 12 folds 0.188 Bitcoin floor. That's wild.
Wait, 0.18?
Yeah, 0.18. That's funny, man.
Damn.
Yeah, it feels low.
Ooh, that does
Feels
can't support the Empire. So
man. And they were as high
yeah.
as about 0.7. They got up to 0.78. They started out
I
at
thought
half
they
a
were
Bitcoin.
higher.
Yeah, they never hit 1. But yeah, they started out at half a Bitcoin. They got up to 0.75 and now down to 0.18. Yikes. All right. Okay. Yeah, Chico. Yeah, you will not want to. Definitely spoilers here. So, all right. I'll give you a few seconds to get out, and then we're going in. Okay, how do you feel about the season leading up to the finale? Probably a good starting point.
Yeah, I think I message you every week just saying the writing is so bad. Like, it's just awful writing. Like, the dialogue I think sucks. The continuity sucks. I'm all like, it's funny. I think like I'm not super picky when it comes to Star Wars. At least I don't think I am. I usually can find. Can you hear me? Okay, I'm driving through an area where normally I turn to shit. Yeah, normally I can find joy and appreciation in anything Star Wars, where I'm like not overly critical. People complain, and sometimes I'm like, it might change my mind a little bit, but usually I'm just like, no, I was entertained. I was always like that with the prequels. People hate Phantom Menace, and I'm like, no, I like it. Like, I can understand how people think it's corny. So, long story short, this is the first Star Wars episode or series that I'm just like, this is just. It reminds me of I used to watch a lot of like the fan fiction on YouTube, where like people just make up whatever they want to make up, and it's just like fun to watch the special effects and maybe a unique storyline. This reminds me of fan fiction more than it reminds me of something that actually came from Disney Star Wars.
That's a great fucking point. And I watch a lot of fan fiction. It feels so similar, like both the look, which is a huge fucking problem considering these cost something like 20 mil an episode, right? The $180 million budget for this, and it looks like a stage. It looks low budget. Some parts it looks phenomenal, really. Some parts it does, but for the most part, it looks low budget. And the acting for the most part's atrocious, and the writing is. To me, the biggest problem was the writing. It's some of the worst writing I've seen ever. It's not just in Star Wars. And man, I go into stuff wanting to like it. Like, man, I love the Green Lantern movie, and I love like Zack Snyder's Justice League, and I like shitty movies because I like seeing superheroes, and I like seeing Star Wars characters, and I like seeing lightsabers and blasters. Like, I just like seeing that stuff. And this shit was hard to watch. It was like, it wasn't even cringe. It was like, it just is bad. It's just really bad. Like, almost everything about it. Lightsaber fight in episode like 4 was okay. It was like good, but also I thought that's what felt fan filmy. Like, I've seen fan films that have great lightsaber fights too. So, with that said, setting up the finale, the show, if you guys haven't seen it, it's about these twins who we don't know really their origin other than they're twins. They're powerful. We don't know if they were created by the Force. We know they were artificially created though. It's funny. It's hard to even give a rundown because the story,
dude.
It's the plot is weird. It doesn't make sense. I can't tell you the twists and turns because you can't explain them. So I can't even tell you what the twists and turns are.
I'm so happy to hear you say that, because I always try to think like when I want to explain what I hate about it, it's that I come to that point where I'm like, I don't even remember what was happening before. Like, I could give you like the very basic overview, which I won't do, but I can't remember everything I hate about it because it's so discombobulated. And the story just has it doesn't grip you. It's not very sticky. But like jumping into like, what did I hate about this? Everything. Like everything about this last episode. One of the things I've hated about the series in general is they've totally nerfed Jedi Masters. It just feels like, their ability to be able to sense anything, which they used to be like highly in tune to that, right? Like highly in tune. If you're talking about like guys like, Obi-Wan or Yoda or Mace Windu, like they can, especially when you dive into the books, they can, okay, I forgot the green alien chick's name. But like, she's obviously a powerful Jedi Master.
So like
At that,
Venestra, something like that.
yeah, something like that. She steps off at the end. She steps off the ship, and like, she can immediately know, like, her prior Padawan was somewhere and in what direction, right? Like, immediately knows that. But like, Saul can't sense that Osha at the end is 45 feet away before he talks about, that he killed her mother.
Right.
And this happens the entire time. Like,
Multiple times he doesn't know she's there. It's twins, so we as the audience are supposed to be confused, and they're trying to make it seem like the Jedi are also confused who is who. Like they can't force sense the difference. Only thing there, and I could say this like only now thinking about it, so in the end, is Saul, he's like the Jedi master dude, or actually he's not even a master. He tries saying they're not twins, they're actually
he
the
is
same
a master.
thing.
He is a master.
Aren't you only a master if you have a Padawan, though?
Well,
that used to be how it worked.
Well, you can't have a Padawan unless you're a master, right? Although Obi-Wan Obi-Wan became a master when he took on Anakin, right? Like he was. So no, I don't think you lose the term master if you don't have a Padawan under you. Like if you have a Padawan and then you don't have a Padawan, I don't think you lose the title of master.
You're right. I'm being a dumbass. I think it was. I'm mixing up a few things. Like you can't be on the council without being a master. I guess it's similar, but yeah.
Okay. That's correct.
Here's a great example of some of the shit looks cool. Like here's a Jedi. I can't remember Torben. There we go. Like some of the lightsaber action was great. By the way, they got the lightsabers fucking wrong. Did you do you see how fat they are? Like they're the thickest hilts. And it was a mistake. And to me, it speaks to the problem with the show. Right? So they made the handles accidentally too big because they have power supplies in them now, right? Normally they don't. They add the blade after the fact. But because they wanted them to be like lit up, and that's the way that Disney does lightsabers, they're so thick they don't look like normal lightsabers. They look really weird. They look really they don't look right.
Lightsaber. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
Well, that just speaks to the whole show. The whole show is, we fucked this up, but it's now it's just part of it, and it's just fuck up after fuck up after fuck up, and they just go with it. It's a lot of people, creating shit in Hollywood that probably don't deserve to be, or not that good, not that talented.
I don't like these ideas that Disney has had where they've taken what was always like a journey, whether you were, let's say, mostly from the Jedi side. Like there's a journey you go on to become more powerful in the Force, right? And then with Rey, they kind of short tracked that. Everybody hated it. I'm surprised they didn't take that feedback, because when Osha at the end corrupts the Kyber crystal, like, first off, she wasn't even a Jedi Knight. She was a Padawan, and she didn't finish her training, right? But she's powerful enough in the Force that she can corrupt the Kyber crystal. Like,
right.
That's usually like a thing that they have to like go away and be able to do, versus like, oh, I'm just here and I've got a lightsaber in my hand and I'm angry and I just corrupted this guy. Like that puts her almost like Anakin level powerful to be able to just like insta corrupt a Kyber crystal. I don't know. That's fucking weird to me.
It was super fucking weird. Yeah. English floor those Star Wars whatevers. Something. But okay, so in the show, okay, let's see how we can even set it up as far as what happened. I guess, dude, it's so fucking chaotic. It's hard to even say like, here's the setup, here's what happened. But basically, the good twin starts turning evil by the end because she learns that the good guys killed her mom. But the way they killed her mom is super confusing because it's so I actually wouldn't be able to explain this without telling you, like, probably taken 30 minutes to explain it all, because again, there's so many things that happen that don't make sense. Like one of the twin characters going from I want to kill the Jedi to then I don't want to kill the Jedi, I want to go join them and turn you in, bad guys, to then I want to kill the Jedi again, to then she doesn't, to now she's the good one, to then her sister, who is the good one, now is turning bad because she learned the Jedi killed her mom again. But it was under the weirdest circumstances where they didn't do anything crazy, honestly. Like, fuck.
Yeah, so basically, like, the crescendo of the episode was that the bad sister who had swapped places with the good sister was basically trying to find her sister, right? So Saul and her wait, that's kind of wrong because what? Oh, she she escapes. The bad sister escapes from Saul and goes back to the planet she's from. And we're not exactly sure why, but maybe it was because she thought her sister would meet her there. Maybe that was the reason. So they all end up on this planet, and then there's this giant clusterfuck of storytelling and fighting that ultimately leads at the end to the bad sister, who had been training under this Sith for, we don't know, probably years at that point, all of the sudden not wanting to train anymore and giving up her spot to her good sister, and in doing so had to have her fucking memory wiped. Like,
fucking
what?
bizarre.
It's just, yeah.
Dude,
hated
fucking
it.
Bizarre. So here it is. So you killed my mother, and here's what kind of actually happens that they show, which, by the way, they show it twice. There are 2 episodes of this 8-episode season that show the exact same thing, just from a little different perspective, like barely adds anything. Should not have been 2 episodes. It's like yet another one of those, them thinking they're clever. Like, you can tell throughout they think they're clever as fuck, and it makes no sense, and it's a waste of your time, and it's frustrating. But yeah, you killed my mother. In reality, it was the twin sister, which she knew, that set the whole, like, their whole house on fire, basically. And then these witches were surrounding the Jedi with their weapons turned on them. And then one of the mothers, but it's 2 mothers, one of them turns into this, like, black smoke demon. And then this dude, trying to protect themselves, really, he stabs her with his lightsaber. And she dies, and then she's like, we were gonna let her join you.
Part was so
like the whole point was she was actually being good. She's like, oh man, the Jedi were coming to take one of the kids away because she wanted to be a Jedi. That was what was happening. The mother again was gonna let her go, but prior to her saying, and they're sitting there talking for a minute, before her saying she can join you, she decides to turn into a smoke demon. It's fucking stupid. Oh, it's so stupid.
So bad.
So in the last episode is where the prior good twin learns that her mother was killed by her former, master or whatever, and then she turns on him and she fights him, but she doesn't fight him. She doesn't fight him with a lightsaber. She force chokes him.
Yeah, dude. What? Like,
and
what?
Part of it is, this is what people said after the fact. I didn't pick up on it, but like from the beginning, the bad twin, her task was to go kill these Jedi without using a weapon. And so he was trying to get her to use the Force to kill him, is what I finally realized at the end, right? So apparently, I don't know if this is actually how it is, but people are saying this is the first time a Jedi or anybody ever used Force choke, which I don't believe. I don't think it's the first time we've ever seen it then in, like, chronological order, right, or on screen. But I can't imagine that's the first time that power had ever been used, given, like, the Jedi Sith were around for 1,000+ years before. But
agree with that.
Well, I want you to see the acting here. I want you to see, this is supposedly someone, and I'm going to play audio here. This is supposedly a woman who's in so much pain that she goes from good to evil, and her lightsaber is going to turn red. This is her tortured and furious. Watch her face.
The life you'd always dreamed of. I said
Notice how it looks now. It's pretty flat. There's the other sister. It never fucking changes.
Stop talking.
The acting is atrocious. She's an awful actress. Did you see her music video?
No.
Oh my God, I'm playing that in a second. It's just the same. This actress can't act. She can't fucking act. Okay, here's the crystal bleeding. The rage. The rage. It's okay. It's okay, Osha. It's fucking awful.
When they get to the point of, like, the Jedi are chasing them, which, by the way, there's some other weird shit that comes to mind of, like, the tracker when he's in the shift and Saul's tracking May when she steals, and then the tracker is just randomly sabotaging it, and you get no explanation why. Like, why did the tracker, sabotage Saul's ship?
No fucking idea. I don't know if he thought he was going to shoot her down. It doesn't make, it's yet another thing that makes no sense. It makes no sense. This guy, by the way, the Sith dude is the best part of the show.
When they're in, he's awesome. Yeah. But when they're in the woods at the end and they're talking about like the Jedi, they'll use you to hunt me down. There was no thought in that moment by a Sith or like some serious force wielding fuckers, which all three of them now are at this point. There was no thought like, let's just all go together and we can drop you off on another planet versus now we have to wipe your mind back to when you were a kid.
It's so stupid. And why didn't she just leave? Why didn't she just run with him? None of it makes sense. None of it makes any fucking sense.
Yeah. And at the end, Yoda comes into the picture, and then you're
we're losing you.
Like, wait, so this whole time Yoda has no idea what the fuck's
it makes no sense. The Jedi who
going on.
Yeah, and they should be able to sense things. They've always said that. It's something like, if there's
it's just weird. But
it's
did we see Plagueis?
We did. So here's a quick thing about Yoda. I think they used the wrong puppet for Yoda, first of all. This puppet, again, this gets super fucking nerdy, but can you hear me, by the way?
Yeah, I just reconnected with Wi-Fi.
Oh, okay. Yep, okay. So the Yoda puppet, it seems like they picked out the puppet from Empire Strikes Back. This doesn't even look like the puppet from Phantom Menace, right? When they did use a puppet, that looks like the wrong model for Yoda. Again, these people just don't know what they're doing. I'm gonna pull up Phantom Menace. It's a minor thing, but again, it just speaks to how fucking awful these people are. And again, you can tell just from the back that's not a younger Yoda, which he should be younger than we ever saw in the prequels even. And then here is maybe the more egregious.
Can you hear me? Okay.
Yeah, I got you now. Yeah. Can you hear? You good?
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, Yoda's in this at the very end. The fact that he can't sense shit does not make sense. The part that really sucks is they wasted an iconic character, a fucking iconic character that Star Wars geeks have been waiting for or hoping for 20 years we'd see in a movie or something. And if he's going to be in a movie or a show, he needs to be done in the most badass way possible. You got to kill. You got to do. Yes, you have to do it right. You have to. You can't. He's too big a character. Now, Plagueis is Palpatine's master, and they did put him in the show for a brief second, being a little creepy fucker in a cave, just like looking out at them, and that's it. That's all we saw of him. To me, it was not the way to introduce a character. It's not that intriguing. A wasted first reveal. You love Plagueis. You're so into the books. What were your thoughts on Plagueis?
Yeah, man, I bet I'm cutting out right now. Am I
It's
cutting
okay
out?
right this second. Yeah.
Okay. I love Plagueis. He's like one of my favorite characters in Star Wars, and yeah, I agree. Total waste. Total waste. It doesn't make sense that nobody. No, it makes sense that people can't sense him. It doesn't make sense that he's like chilling in this cave. Like, what is he doing? Is he like a voyeur? He's just like watching this love fest go on between OSHA and this fucking guy. It's bizarre.
It's just.
Yeah.
It's not exciting. There should have been something really fucking cool. He should have done something very dark, something. Just something. And it's just, that's it. That was it. And again, it wasn't exciting. You see something you've been waiting for so long for, and it should have been badass, and you're just like whatever. Bummer of a show. It was wild to see people's reaction too. Hardcore Star Wars people hate it. And I'll tell you this, man. I thought at first it was people hating it just to hate it. I didn't hate it at first. I thought it had really awesome potential, even after a couple episodes, and quickly it was like, okay, there's no hope. But the people who were early on defending it and liked it and saw some good in it and actually thought overall it was like a net positive, by the end, hate it as well. Do not want a second season. There's so few people supporting this now. The biggest thing this has done for Star Wars is get content creators talking about it. It's that bad, and it's pretty universal. It was shit.
Yeah, so one real shit thing about Plagueis is his book is hands down the best Star Wars book ever. And his book takes place preceding Phantom Menace. In fact, it starts when Palpatine is a kid. Like Palpatine's maybe like 12 or 13 when Plagueis really starts to like he's a teenager, a young teenager when Plagueis takes him as his apprentice. So what's weird is a lot of what Plagueis and his master Darth Tenebris were doing, where they were trying to create life using Sith alchemy. Okay, and in the book it like references like almost like labs where they were like concocting shit. But if the whole idea was that Plagueis had to have known based on this that you could just go to some fucking planet where there's some virgins, was that what they called it?
Right.
And somehow create life out of that, then how come all of these decades later they're trying to cook up some fucking person in a lab using the Force versus just going back to this planet and just creating life there where they know it already happened?
Right.
Like if that's the part I don't get. It's like they took the book that had all this cool shit and they basically, it's almost like it doesn't make any sense. If this already had happened, he knew it happened, use that method to create life.
And the thing I want to read more about is like they talk about the virgins in the Force, and that's where the girls came from, like the twins. Like there's this virgins on the Force, and like you said, somehow these witches harness this power to make these two. But like the importance of Anakin was that he was a virgins in the Force, and he was created by the Force as a reaction to Plagueis fucking with the Force and trying to make life. He was like perverting the Force so much that the Force is like, we are creating the chosen one to destroy this shit. And this kind of, it's hard to say. Again, I got to read more and understand more. It feels like this changes all that and kind of destroys the importance of that to make this self-important. And I know people on the other side say it doesn't impact canon, it doesn't change anything. But the thing was, is the Virgin supposed to be super unique? Maybe not. Maybe the way Qui-Gon talks about it, like the fact that he's even calling it a Virgin, like it's something they know about. Maybe that means it's happened in the past, but if this wasn't written so sloppily and acted so poorly, if all those things, this would be so much less of a problem because there were a couple cool characters. Like Master Soul was fucking great. And this guy, the stranger guy, great. I'd say he's like a solid like 7.5 or 8 out of 10. Like tons of potential with him. The rest of it, garbage, man. I hope they do not make another series. I'll tell you what. This series, by the end, I only watched the finale just to finish it out. I literally was sitting there and I'm like, I think I'm going to play games and I'll just watch like a recap on YouTube. Like I had no interest, and I've never been like that with Star Wars. But I almost didn't watch. If they do a season 2, I'm not watching. If it's the same crew, I won't. Like I have no interest. Does this ruin other Star Wars for you? As in, like you don't want to watch it?
No, like I still will because I love it. So like I didn't love this series, but I feel like Star Wars has given so much awesome shit that like even if they made a series 2 or a second season, I'd still watch it. I don't think it'd be good, but I don't know. I love Star Wars. I like all the little shit, you know, the fighting scenes and probably losing you, right?
Cut out a little. You're good though.
Yeah, but I would still watch. I just feel like they made the Jedi. Oh, like the scene with the senator. I thought was a little bit weird. Like the Jedi were always painted as like the defenders of good, and I feel like they turned them into more of a political party. Like the Jedi religion was always supposed to be good, and there was people that would fall from it, but they seemed to turn it more into like nothing more than politics, which was something that like the Jedi were very against, right? Like they were very against like being like super political, even though I guess they kind of were, since they were sort of like the special forces of the Senate kind of. It was just weird.
The Jedi were not self-aware. Like they started turning into the thing that they did not like, you know what I mean? But the degree at which they changed the Jedi here, it was for a purpose. It was to make the Jedi look like really bad. Like the point of this show was to make the Jedi look bad and incompetent, and the bad guys look a little more like relatable, a little less bad.
Yeah, that's a good point. And they turned the Jedi into a bunch of like liars. Like so, and I just didn't think that was really like very Jedi like.
Right. Yeah. So also by the end, they framed so earlier in this season, there's like 8 or 10 Jedi that were all killed by this guy who, again, this Sith dude's fucking awesome. He's a badass. He kills them all. They end up blaming it on her master, like the Jedi, the good master. A Jedi goes and says he killed all these Jedi and then killed himself. All this weird framing shit. Now, a Jedi master from Phantom Menace, Plo Koon? No, Kai Mundi? Yeah, whatever. Jedi from Phantom Menace was here in the show and knows all these Jedi died. Separately now, a senator knows all these Jedi died. And then at the very end, I think you're realizing that, well, no, now Yoda knows all these Jedi died. And all of a sudden, but it's not a thing by the time the Phantom Menace comes around. They say they haven't seen Sith in 1,000 years. Again, they're going to retcon that and say, well, they knew it was just a cover-up. They're just trying to make the Jedi look like a bunch of like evil fucks. And it doesn't work. It doesn't fit what the Jedi are. It doesn't. Cover-ups is a little too far for me. Like, I get George Lucas was definitely trying to say the Jedi have their problems too. But cover-ups like that doesn't make any sense, especially when other people know it happened too. So, bad show, man.
Yeah.
Bad fucking show.
Yeah, these guys are like the seedy, shitty conspiracy theory Jedi. Whereas like Mace Windu before would have been sort of like an edgier Jedi. But even he was like, you would still consider him to be like married to the dogma of the Jedi. And it seems like none of these people are. Like, yeah, we'll just make some shit up, and this will be the story we tell everyone.
Right.
I don't know. Yeah, hated it.
Oh, it's so bad. It's so bad. Well, I think next we got, what is it? We have the Skeleton Crew, which could be really fucking cool. That could be actually really fucking cool. Jude Law's in it. There's some other big actors in it, too, and it's more like it's kind of like a kid's adventure story. It's going to be like I feel like it's an 80s-ish sci-fi vibe, but it's also like Goonies-ish. I think Goonies is what they've compared it to, which is kind of cool. And but the cast looks cool.
Jedi? Is this like, Jedi kind of storytelling?
Yes. Yeah, it is. Yeah, Jedi focused.
Okay.
I'm going to pull up a picture real quick.
You remember when they were talking about like after episode 9 that this was the end of the Skywalker storyline? And then you just wonder like, okay, well, what could be coming next? Because there is this whole other world to explore. I just never thought it was going to be like this shitty of a storyline that they went with. Like, I like Mandalorian, I vibe with it. But it's not amazing. And this was just like a 1 out of 10.
Fucking absolutely with you. I think that, there's a Skeleton Crew trailer. You want to see it?
Yeah.
Have you ever seen it?
Nope.
All right, cool.
No.
There might be even 2. This is real, by the way. I'm 90. Let me double check. Just want to make sure that's the real one. Yeah, okay, I think this is real. I checked. I think I saw a fake trailer before, but this one I think is real. So, all right, let's check it.
Ever want to join anything exciting?
When? You better be studying. When?
That was pretty rough. Hard to tell exactly what's going on, but I like that vibe. So that should be cool. I know there's an animated series, another new one coming out. Maybe Clone Wars, like another Clone Wars season. So that'd be cool too. So there's good shit coming. Ahsoka season 2, couple movies coming. I'll just be skipping.
Ahsoka I liked.
Ahsoka
I liked.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. All right, good shit, dude. Let's wrap it here. I love you, man. Thank you for coming.
Yeah. Yeah, love you too, man. Always fun to chat. Gonna go sell some rugs.
There you go. Rug 'em, Brock. Guys,
Hope
thank
you
you
have a
for
great
tuning
weekend.
in. Yeah, thank you. You too, man. All right, guys, I'll see you tomorrow morning, same time. Have a great day. We'll see you.